Hey everybody, welcome back. My name is Lucas. This is our Liberty House, and today's super exciting. We are prepping and planning for fall. It's late August here in Sacramento. We're zone 9B, and I know it's hot. It's supposed to be 95 degrees today, but fall comes early. You got to get ahead of it. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to go over what we're planning, what it means to fall garden, and then some soil amendment, soil bed prep, so you can have a successful season going into the cool part of the year. If you guys are ready to get going, hit that thumbs up, give us that like, and subscribe to our channel. Let's go. All right, so if you're new or interested in fall cool season gardening, you might not even know what it is. A lot of people, have peppers and tomatoes all summer, and people don't really try, winter gardening. And that's the great thing about living in a warmer climate, is we can grow year round. And so what is cool season gardening? That's like your leafy greens, your salads, your root vegetables, and your cauliflowers and your broccolis, and things that can't really withstand the hot summer heat. And if you're interested in what we're growing exactly, stick to the end of the video here. We're gonna go over exactly what we're growing. And you can also check out, your local ag extension office, or just Google a planting calendar for your zip code, your city, or your region. And usually it'll show you what you can grow in the winter months. And before we do that, we really need to prep these beds to get ready for, a big harvest again. And we've been pulling a ton of peppers and tomatoes and different things out of the garden this summer, and we need to give them a quick boost. And so what we did is we got some compost and then just some all-purpose fertilizer here, just a 542, just a general refresh. And like I said, we've pulled a lot of stuff out of this garden, so it's always good just to top with a little compost and a little fertilizer and give your beds a jump start going into that fall cool season. So that's the first thing we're gonna do. And Beth prepped these beds in our video last week about kind of pulling some stuff out of the summer garden, and we're gonna continue on that. And that's the first thing we're gonna do. So let's get going on that, and then we'll go over what we're planning. All right, so the first thing we did is we pulled some of this mulch out. Just, it ran its course, it did its job, and now we are going to sprinkle some fertilizer, and then we're going to put about a 1-2 inch layer of compost, and we'll just kind of mix it in with our fingers and prep this bed. So just want to get like a even broadcast of fertilizer. Real easy here. And what's great about organic fertilizer is that it's really hard to do too much. It won't burn your plants necessarily like an inorganic fertilizer. So then we're just going to use some of this compost. Really just mix it in. So this is what they call top dressing your beds, and it's just a good practice to do at the changing of each growing season. So just top dress this. Almost be harvested. You can see this is an exact science. Very, very scientific. All right, so just like that, this bed, at least the spaces we've cleared, is ready. And you can see we're still growing a lot of things, and you'll see that in our other beds. We have summer crops still in here, but the stuff that's ran its course, we are prepping that in between, just around the stuff, to plant for fall season. So this is something you could do. You don't have to pull your whole garden all out at once. You could prep in between, and you could kind of succession plant it, intermix. So let's move on to the other ones. Another bag. Something you can definitely do with the changing of the seasons is do a soil test. And, especially if things didn't go well for you, or if you have a feeling that things are off, rapid test, Luster Leaf makes a really good NPK, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium test. And they also have different pH meters. And that's a big thing people don't realize is testing your pH to make sure that your soil is in a good, 6 to 6.5, 6 to 7 acidity for growing most every vegetable. So we'll put these links down on the bottom. Just the rapid test by Luster Leaf does the pH, and then like an NPK tester. And we did a whole video on how to test your soil because we got really bad soil when we filled all these beds. So check that out on our channel. It's a soil testing video. It shows you exactly how to do it. All right, as promised, I said we're gonna go over everything we're growing. And something to think about is in the wintertime, you're gonna get less sun and the sun's gonna be lower in the horizon. So think about that when you're planning where you're gonna plant different things, because some areas of your yard might get completely shaded. Like we have corners of our yard that almost get maybe like 2 hours of sun. And these plants don't necessarily like full sun and hot, like 8 hours of sun, but you still are going to need some sun. The plants will need sun. So just think about that. In the wintertime, you're gonna have less daylight and it's gonna be lower in the horizon. It's gonna be farther to the south. So you might not get as much sun. So when you're planning, think about that. So we'll start with our starts here that we just got from the local nursery. We're going to do some bok choy, which is great for soups, and Brussels sprouts, cauliflower, and broccoli, and then some herbs. Herbs love cool season. So these are all of the starts we're going to do, and then the rest will be direct sow. And the seeds we're going to do is we've got some snap peas and then some shelling peas, and we're going to do that on the arch trellis and really try to fill that in. It will be really pretty and green. And legumes like beans and peas are actually nitrogen fixers, so it's good after we pulled a lot of stuff out of that bed to plant with some beans and some peas to help fix that soil. Couple different lettuces like this butter crunch, romaine, some spinach, and arugula, and we'll intermix that and kind of succession plant it so we can have harvest cut and coming in kind of lettuce like all winter long. So definitely your shadier parts of your yard, your lettuces will do great. So piggybacking on succession planting, that's smart to do. Don't just plant all your beets, all your peas, all your lettuces all at once, because you want to be able to harvest throughout the whole winter season. So we're going to plant some peas this week, and then in the back in our tomato wall, when we pull those tomatoes out finally, we'll plant more peas back there. So we'll get, a succession of harvests, and also, like I said, fix that soil, because those tomatoes just took everything probably out of that soil, because we got tomatoes and peppers right in front of each other. So we really are gonna have to worry about fixing that soil. So that's succession planting. You wanna just plan that kind of stuff out. So some other things, Beth got some different flowers, which is just some cool season flowers that'll be fun and really brighten it up when it's gloomy and rainy. Beets, we really like beets, so different orange beets, more orange beets. Rainbow carrots are always fun. You know, carrots like it wet and warm, so we'll start them early, but we'll really have to water them in. And then radishes, which are great, like 21-day harvest, so that's just something fun that really can grow year-round here. Different bunching onions. What else we got in here? We're going to try to plant some leeks, more flowers. Beth really likes to mix in flowers because it keeps the pollinators in the yard and, you know, keeps the bees fed and happy, and they're just nice to look at. Let's see, more flowers. And then borage is another one. It's great for the bees and the pollinators. It's a little bit more of a warm season, but it never really gets that cold here. So we'll plant some of this just to keep some color and keep the bees fed. So that's really what we're focusing on planting. Like I said, we've got some starts, some brassicas. I just like to buy the starts. And then a lot of this stuff, which is great about cool season crops, is just direct seed. And then if you live in a climate that gets a lot of rainfall, then you really don't have to worry about them. You just throw them in the ground and let them grow. And something you'll see here is I just threw together, the ugly side was the other side, is a little square foot planting guide, and you can buy these. They're like 30 bucks probably on Amazon, but you can also just make one. It's just 1 foot by 1 foot, and I cut the holes, and so you'll see, it's hard to see, but there's 2 different size holes here. And then when you square foot garden, it'll tell you you can plant 12 bunching onions per square foot, or you can plant 9 romaine heads per square foot. And so this is 12, the smaller is 12 per square foot, and then the bigger is 9 per square foot. And then you can do 4 per square foot, so like 1, 2, 3, 4. You can do 5. So just, you can look for square foot guides, and this is like a really good way for when you're direct seeding in the garden to get accurate spacing, and then not overseeding and having to come back and thinning. Like when you just do rows of lettuces or rows of carrots, you always have to come back in and thin it. So this will help with your thinning and your planning, and you can maximize the space you have for that cool season gardening. So we're gonna get planting, get this cool season fall garden going. We really appreciate you guys' time. Check us out next week.